Hello, everyone. Welcome inside the Red Earth Production Studios for another edition of YBMcast. Today, our GAC preview continues with Francis Howell North GAC South head coach Bobby Dunahue. Coach, 2022, 15-18 overall, GAC Central 3-7. You got 12 returning seniors. Welcome to the program.
Well, I'm happy. I'm happy to be here.
I appreciate it. I've shot out a few emails from time to time, and we connected this time around, which I'm glad of.
And so am I.
Yeah, we were out at your freshman camp. It's been a few years ago.
Oh, the GAC prep.
Yeah, the GAC prep. Yeah. And we were out there the one year, got a chance to meet you and talk to you out there. It was a lot of fun.
It always is. That's a situation where it only makes all of the GAC schools stronger. And as we've spoken before about how I feel about the GAC conferences, the majority of us coaches really feel like we are the best conference, baseball-wise, in the entire state. Not just our area, but the entire state. And that has a lot to do with it. When all the head coaches get to see what's coming up and spend a week with them, it's like a boot camp. And we, speaking of Francis Howell North, we really enjoy it because we get to be on a first-name basis.
Yeah.
With incoming freshmen, and how many other sports can say, like say a football coach, hey, I know all the incoming freshmen's first name.
Right.
And I think it's important to the student athlete also.
To your point as well, there, Coach. I think it's interesting in the way baseball's changed the landscape of it. You have a lot of these kids coming out of clubs, been playing. Now you come into this setting where you've got maybe two or three guys that you've competed against in other clubs that you have to compete for a spot. That's a whole different kind of world for them, a little bit, isn't it?
Yes, it is, and then again, maybe not so much. Let's say compared to softball.
Okay.
I mean, the softball clubs are it.
Gotcha.
Whereas, and especially as far as player placements go, I still think in baseball, the high school coach and the high school program speaks volumes as to what chance a player may have to move up. And I say that especially about the GAC conferences because if you'll look at our schedules, I mean, we're playing the best of the best, and we're playing them all around the state. And so when a college coach or a JUCO coach sees one of our players and their stats, they're like, hey, this kid's legit.
Yeah. And I agree with that. I was referring more to the incoming freshmen when they go to that GAC camp. And competing for a spot on that roster, looking at how are they going to compete against guys maybe they played against, coming into that and winning that varsity spot.
Right.
That competition level really, it changes the dynamic a bit for them, doesn't it?
It does, because now they realize, if and when, I do get a spot in the program, these are going to be my brothers. And that's huge.
Yeah, I think it is.
And I think I'd be remiss in saying the reason we started this basically was because, as a parent, what's the number one question you ask for a freshman athlete? What does my son or daughter have to do to make the team?
Right.
Well, at the end of these 5 days, and we hand out an evaluation also. I don't know if all the coaches do, but we do. And we sit down and talk with them. They've got 9 months to improve, and they know exactly what they need to do to make the team, because we run those 5 days as a tryout camp, and we're up front with them.
Yeah.
We tell them immediately, and we talk with them after the camp also. We call it closure.
Well, and again, though, I think that's the key, isn't it? It gives them the opportunity to understand what it takes to make the team, and I think that's great. And I think that freshman camp is interesting in that fashion.
Well, I think it's mandatory in our to steal from you in our culture. That's a little aside, okay. Today, the more communication that you have, not only with the player but with the parents or the guardians,
right,
it's irreplaceable and can take care of a lot of problems.
Absolutely. So let's take a look at this. Let's start into this, Coach. You're making the switch back to the South. You were in the Central last year. You're making that switch back to the GAC South. The Central was tough. The South presents its own can of worms. How are you looking at that?
We play those teams in the South, and we did it purposely because we didn't want to lose touch.
Gotcha.
Plus the competition. When you look at, the Central's nothing to sneeze at.
Right.
But when you look at the South, you're looking at, at least 2, if not 3 teams that could possibly be playing in the Final Four.
Correct.
On a yearly basis.
Right.
So the state, in its infinite wisdom, usually has the brackets set up so a GAC could knock off another GAC, so there wouldn't be 2 GAC teams up in the Final Four.
You understand that to a degree.
We all do. Yeah. And we know it going in. Last year, the South, you're talking, you got 3 teams
right.
that are ranked in the top 10 in state, and they're all in the same district. Thank you.
Yep.
You could have held state there. Just invite a couple teams in.
Bring the Liberty North Blue Springs over, right?
Seriously, yes. Come on in. This is our conference.
2023, you've got 12 seniors coming back, which really bodes well for most teams, regardless of where they're at. I always like to start with pitching and defense, and I'll tell you why, because I've told everybody else why. I say this, and everybody's probably getting tired of hearing it. I don't care. I think pitching and defense, that's where it all begins. You got your pitching and defense. My guy, Tommy Lasorda, it's the way he did it. Hit a couple bombs and let's go home. Right?
Well, yeah, with us it's get a couple walks, a bunt, a couple steals. It's like the 50s White Sox.
The 80s Cardinals, right? Oh, man. So we're going to start with pitching, Coach. You got a couple kids here, a couple names I was looking at. Now, I am going to butcher this young man's name, and I'm sorry, but Joseph or Joe
Borgschulte.
Borgschulte. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
32 innings. He had a 2.60 ERA. Solid year. He was 3-2. Trey Schneider had 27 innings, 3-3 with a 3.04 ERA. Where are you seeing these guys in your rotation, Coach?
Well, first of all, Joe is he's our shortstop.
Okay.
Our number 1 guy last year, Archer, Derek, and if you'll look at his last 3, he only pitched like in 5 games.
Oh, wow.
He broke his hand playing hockey. I can't say anything bad about that because, my oldest son played for the Junior Blues. Both of them played. Both of them were captains at Howell North. So, I understand.
It is what it is.
It is what it is.
Yeah.
But he was our number 1 guy. He pitches in the district game, throws a 3-hitter. We go down to Washington and play at Dutzow, which is for people not from the real Field of Dreams. He was dominant. So if he plays the whole year, and plus he hit 409 for us.
Oh, wow.
Come down. If he plays the whole year, we're probably 22 and something.
Sure.
Okay. We lost to a good SLU team, but the thing is, we had our first baseman have to pitch that game. And Joe We had to shut him down a little bit because we just wanted him for relief, but somebody had to eat some innings, and he's a bulldog. So he's basically, one of our middle guys. He's either going to play shortstop and second base. He's a very sure-handed infielder. If we need to put him on the bump, it won't be in a starting role. It'll be in a relief or maybe a hold type of guy.
Okay.
So now with Trey, that's different.
Okay.
He's already signed at UMSL. Got a nice frame.
Scott Ewell over there.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He comes in with a really good resume.
Yeah.
And I know the UMSL program because when I was umpiring college, I did a lot of Dix's games. Brady, I've known or did know. Jimmy's passed. God bless him. And then my late brother, when he got out of umpiring in AA, he worked with Jimmy, and they went to the College World Series twice.
Oh, wow.
Division II. So I have a strong feeling for that program. I looked it up. We've sent 16 players over there, and Trey will make 17. So, and I do like Coach Ewell's, and I think Trey is the type of individual that he's looking for, where his best baseball is in front of him, and he's going to work hard. He doesn't expect anything given to him, and I think that's what Coach Lewis was looking for. And I think Trey's going to do an outstanding job for us as our number one guy.
You got to have that number one, don't you, Coach?
Well, you don't. You can have 1A, 1B, which I would take over just a 1.
Well, so, all right.
Not to be argumentative, but I'd like.
I get it.
You know what? I'll 1A, 1B, 1C.
Yeah.
And if that happens, well,
if you're that deep,
I'll see you in Springfield.
Exactly. If you're that deep, then you're in good shape. Well, there's a couple other names that I saw in here: Peyton Caples, Stephen Thompson. Are those a couple of kids that you're going to be thinking about in your rotation and stuff?
Okay. Again, given our situation last year, Caples is our left fielder.
Okay.
And Thompson is our right fielder. However, the one thing I really like about both those kids, they are really good outfielders. I mean, I saw that form you sent me about who's going to play center field. We got 3 guys that can play center field.
Oh, wow.
And the hardest part about playing center field is you have to have good depth judgment, because the ball doesn't go this way and this way like it does on the wings, always going to the line. It goes this way and this way. And we're fortunate. We have 3 kids that can play center field. They're very athletic. I know I'm getting away from the
No, you're fine. You're fine.
The pitching part of it.
We'll come back to the defense too.
But basically, it was we needed them.
Gotcha.
It wasn't the fact that, hey, he's got outstanding stuff, or
right,
he's got hit and miss stuff.
You had to do that.
Yeah.
Gotcha. So who are the names? Who's behind Trey Schneider? Who are those kids that you're looking at, Coach, that's going to help you fill out that rotation?
Well, we got a junior kid, the Mitchell kid. His older brother pitched 4 years for us, and he's up at Truman right now. Mm-hmm. And I told him all the pitfalls up there, like don't get frostbite and things of that nature. That's the coldest place in the world. So, but it's going to be basically when we have tryouts, and our program, I think, is a bit unique because we all try out together.
Mm-hmm.
We have the freshmen and the sophomores and the juniors, and we all try out together. So Mike Friedline, my assistant, myself, and my JV coach and my freshman coach, we've got 4 sets of eyes on all these kids, so we don't miss anybody. We may have a freshman come in, as you related to, that's been a good club player. Well, he has nothing to prove playing freshman baseball, so why waste a year? So we bump him up. We have, since day one in our program, and this hurt a lot of parents' feelings, but I couldn't help it, I got to be honest, best players play.
Right.
If you're a freshman and you're better than a junior, you're playing. And if you're a freshman and you're better than a senior, hopefully the senior's got a set of golf clubs or a tennis racket. So, because he's not staying unless he's playing, unless he's a pitcher. You know?
Right.
So, but
Never had enough pitching.
Well, it's disheartening for a senior. I mean, their lives are now. I mean, they're going to graduate and they got stuff to sit. And you got to be honest with a kid. And it's not personal. It's just I can't look down the bench and see a kid sitting 18 games. Right. What have I done for him?
I understand that, Coach.
And it's right? and they understand. They understand. We told them that.
If you're honest in the conversation, right?
Well, they've known since the prep camp.
There you go. There you go.
So, I mean, seriously.
And you got to look at that. I mean, you have to deal with those things as far as players and what's going to be best because you are working to put these kids in a position to win ball games.
Correct.
That's the goal, right?
That and getting them to the next level, so they can pay for their education.
And that's development, and
right.
Those things are all part of that. But, getting to the next level is still a matter of talent and and ability. You have to have those things. So then you understand the level of talent. If you have this player here that's better, that's just the kind of situation you're in.
Well, also you look at the senior and you say, you've had 3 years. In the program.
Have you gotten better?
Yeah.
Well,
we have another saying. Baseball, athletics. It's like life. There's no such thing as status quo. You either get better or you get worse because if you stay the same, people are going to pass you by. And you see it all the time. You got a 6-foot kid playing in 5th grade. Well, he should be dominant. And when he gets to be a junior, if he's not dominant, well, he hasn't done anything. And some of the guys.
You see that happen every year. Some happens.
Unfortunately, it does.
Coach, defensively, you've talked a little bit about your outfield and whatnot, and some of those kids, and we'll finish that up. But I always start up the middle. That catching position, it's key because they're handling your pitching staff. They're basically the guy that sees the whole field, getting everybody in place. Who are you looking at behind the dish there?
Actually, he's like our second coach. He's on the staff. I mean, he's like you said, he's got 8 guys in front of him, so he better know what the heck's going on.
Right.
Secondly, he's our team psychologist for his pitching staff. I mean, it's the guy on the bump and him against the world.
Right.
So he has to have a really strong relationship. I had a catcher 4 or 5 years ago. I'm a starting catcher. Why do I have to catch pens? And I'm like, because you have to know all his stuff. You have to know his moods. He goes, what do you mean? We're not dating. And I'm like, no, I want you to know. I want you to know him better than you know the girl you're dating. And I mean, it's that type. We have 3 kids that are capable of being number 1 guys. Mm-hmm. Now, for the last 2 years, we've had Pat Martinez back there. I mean, he got pop time 1-9.
Wow.
Well, it is for him because, he's 80-82 on the Ray. So, he doesn't have a cannon, but, his release and his fundamentals are outstanding. By the same token, Patty can play third. He can play short. He can play second. He can play the outfield. He's really a good base. He is the epitome of being a baseball player.
Did he catch for you last year
yes.
as well, Coach?
Yes.
A .995 was his fielding percentage.
And that's legit. And probably the errors he made were when we stuck him at third base.
Gotcha.
Then we have the Wilson kid. Tremendous athlete. He's 6'3". He can run. He's 82, 85 on the Ray. Is he the catch and throw guy that Patrick is? No. Could he be? Yes. He can play the corners. He's really good in the outfield.
Wow.
And then we have the Hewlett kid, who he looks like a refrigerator. He's chiseled.
He's a middle linebacker, right?
He looks like a refrigerator with feet. But he's very agile.
Uh-huh.
He can play third. He can catch. He can pitch. You know, he's a mid-80s guy.
So defensively, you really have some options, kids that can fill roles, fill space, and especially when it comes to pitching, if you need an arm, you got guys that can really multitask, don't you?
Yes, and you know, we like that. I haven't met a coach yet that says, you know, I don't like my players being able to play more than one position. I mean, last year was a perfect example. You know, we won 15 ball games, but I mean, like I said, we could have won 7, 8 more. But the reason that we won those 15 games was because of the fact that we could take our left fielder and bring him on the bump, or our right fielder, or our center fielder, or our shortstop, or our second baseman, and they knew what they were doing. I mean, it was no surprise. Like, hey, guess what? You're on the bump today. No.
And too, Coach, you as well as anybody, if you can swing it, you got to find a place to put that kid, right?
Bats play, yeah.
Right?
Yeah, bats play. You know,
and
if you're hitting 400, you're either DHing or selling popcorn, but you're in the lineup. I mean, you know, we'll find some place for you to swing it for us.
And you got to score runs, and that's the key. You had some kids, you know, some of the younger guys with a little lesser on the plate appearances, but Peyton Caples, 68 plate appearances. Trey Schneider, as you said, you know, he had 37 plate appearances, 8 RBIs. That's some pretty good production right there. You had Ryan Wilson, the young man you were talking about, 64 plate appearances, 8 runs, 8 RBIs. Good run production there. And when and Stephen Thompson had 106 plate, 16 runs, 9 RBIs. You got some guys that that's going to increase in their plate appearance and get more opportunities, aren't they?
Yeah, and with those stats, you have to understand that you know, they're coming from a JV program,
right?
You know, being true sophomores, and boom, you know, coming up, and that's difficult. You know, Joe was a sophomore. Steve's a sophomore. Now they'll be juniors this year, and it's difficult playing GAC level ball as a sophomore. I thought they really did a good job of buying into what we needed out of them and competing. You know, they had some highs and some lows, and maybe more lows. But the thing is, I mean, they battled through it, sure. And they understood exactly what it's like not to play club ball.
Right.
I don't care how good it is, but to play in the GAC.
Yeah.
So
who are we missing here offensively that you're going to take a look at, Coach? You're going to let us know kids that we want to watch coming up this year.
To be honest with you, the Hewlett kid, we're really looking for good things out of him. He is the type of kid that loves to compete, and he does it the right way.
Very good. And he is a junior?
Yes.
Gotcha.
We have a couple younger kids that they have an opportunity to really come in and contribute, hopefully in a starting role, but if not, you know, in a backup role. I mean, unfortunately, we had so many injuries last year. Heck, we didn't even take buses to the game. We took an ambulance, you know. I mean, it was terrible. So.
Not good.
No, not good. Not good at all.
But that shows, but here again, as you're talking about these things, Coach, you need depth to compete at the highest level, right?
We do. And, you know, I like the makeup of what we've got coming in because I'm big on defense too. And, I tell the kids all the time, I've never lost nothing to nothing. But I've lost 21-19. I've won 31-21, which both are true. But these kids, we got 4 kids that are going to compete for outfield. They call themselves the no-fly zone.
Sweet.
They just tell their pitchers, hey, make them hit it in the air. They're out.
You need to get some T-shirts for that one, Coach.
Well, that's where they came from. We had a group about 4 years ago, and they were outstanding. Even Coach Perkins, who never gives out a compliment, unless, of course, you live in the 63303, he was like,
we won't tell him.
He knows.
He knows.
Yeah. He goes, Bobby, I hate to say this. He goes, but that's the best outfield I've ever seen you have, and you really pride yourself on your outfielders. And I was like, well, thank you very much. Now go over there and lose. For once. So I like our defensive makeup. We're going to be a pitch to contact team. We're not going to miss many bats, which I don't see that as a negative because. No. We had that.
But, Coach, let me ask you this. When you're talking about that, you're developing your team. You understand that those things going in, what your pitchers are, and working strategy and things of that nature to build the team around that thought process, right?
Oh, most definitely. And we want the kids to be aware of it, too. I mean, it's not like, hey, I sat at home last night, and guess what I came up with? No, I mean, right. They all know exactly what we're trying to do. And, we have realistic views on what they're capable of doing. And we expect them to at least meet those standards, if not, excel past that. And like I said, last year was a very difficult year for Mike and myself because, we are both very positive people, but when you look at a kid who's 15, half our team last year couldn't even drive. Their favorite movie star was what's that pink dinosaur guy? Barney. Hey, did you see Barney yesterday? And I'm like, come on, guys, really? At least watch Sports Center.
Yeah, exactly.
So we were young.
Yeah.
Having them with that year underneath their belt, I think is really going to help us a great deal.
Very good. Coach, you've been doing this a while.
I had Moses in the Burning Bush League. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Sweet. You talked a lot about your staff. You've been. And I think it's interesting how you've approached these things. I've been talking with the other coaches. Your staff, your freshman staff, your JV staff, they're important to how those kids arrive at the varsity, ready to play, and the culture. How do you talk? How do you guys work together in those respects? I know you said you do all the tryouts, but what are other things that you're doing with those guys? And throw some names. We want to make sure we get some love out to those guys.
We tell our players that every coach in the program is to be treated like a varsity coach because that's exactly what they are. They are varsity assistants on the JV level, varsity assistant on the freshman level, and they run the exact same program we run. The reason for that is if we have to bring a freshman up to play JV, he already knows.
Right.
There's no training. These are the signals. No. A JV kid to the varsity, he already knows. He knows the cutoff situation. He knows all the pickoffs because we run the same thing. The JV and the freshman team, that's our minor leagues. Right. When they're ready to go, they move up, boom, We're constantly communicating staff-wise. The JV and the varsity play, on the same days. And we always call after each game, hey, what's going on? Hey, what this kid's doing? And, my staff for baseball is not the same staff that I have for softball.
No, there you go.
Which is good. And I had the opportunity to actually hire each one of these guys. So, shame on me if they don't pan out. And they're wonderful.
Right.
They are wonderful. Coach Morrison on the freshman level, fantastic. Fantastic. He's a counselor too, which really helps. we bring him up to the varsity. Talk to that kid. Because he's driving me crazy. Coach Jesse Stewart, he played Cape. He played St. Charles High Boy. Wonderful baseball background. Does a great job of teaching the game, and that's one of the things I'm most proud of with Morrison and Coach Stewart and Coach Friedline. They teach the game of baseball and how to play. And we may not be the best record-wise baseball program, but we're probably one of the most respected because we like to do it right.
Yeah.
And there is and I might step on some toes, there's a right way and there's a wrong way. Like my dad said, why compromise when you could be all right instead of halfway wrong? So, they call, when they talk to the umpire, it's Mr. Umpire, sir. And they go, why? I say, because that pitch on the corner, you may get called a ball if you're hitting or a strike if you're pitching, just because of the respect you've shown them. And you should show them.
Building relationships.
Oh, most definitely. And, that's a lifetime skill.
Absolutely.
So.
Absolutely. Coach, that's good stuff.
Well, thank you.
I appreciate it very
much. The book comes out, and Nobles and Barnes, or Barnes and Nobles, either one of those stores.
Amazon.com.
If you're dyslexic, it's
how to play the game, right?
And have fun doing it.
There you go.
It's
that'd be a good book.
It's play baseball, not work baseball. So.
There you go. Coach Bobby Dunahue, folks, Francis Howell North, GAC South this year. Good luck with that.
Appreciate it. I need prayer, too.
There's
power in prayer. And a shortstop and a left-handed pitcher, too, Santa.
Yeah. Oh, mercy. Coach, thank you very much. I appreciate you taking the time.
My pleasure, Brian.
Folks, if you enjoyed that, please appreciate it. Hit the subscribe button. Also, we got our contest rolling, Prime Sports Midwest. If you're looking for some gear, you're looking to get your team outfitted, primesportsmidwest.com. Tell them YBM sent you. We do appreciate that. Everybody, thanks for tuning in. All you pitchers, keep throwing strikes. And hitters, Coach, you got some advice for the hitters?
Be aggressive and, have a plan. There's something here that we need to really address. If you're a hitter, not a batter, if you're a hitter, have a plan when you step into the office. We call it the office because you're going to do some business in there.
There you go.
So, but have a plan,
That's good advice, folks. That's really good advice. We'll see y'all next time.
Not against us, though.